You are making the world a better place by listening to the Joy of Living podcast. This is your guide to achieving a more purposeful, powerful, and positive life. Join Barry Shore in unlocking the best version of you and becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And now, here's your ambassador of joy, Barry Shore.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. You found good in abundance because you conscientiously tuned in to the Joy of Living with your humble host, Barry Shore, the ambassador of joy. Now, remember, I didn't say the ambassador of joy. I said the ambassador of joy. And you tuned into this show for one reason only. And by the way, it's the best reason in the whole world, because you care the most in the whole world about you. That's right. Why you? Because in this show, we discuss the three fundamentals of life. And when you follow these and utilize these three fundamentals, the result will be you'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? And you're going to be just amazed at what you're going to hear and feel and experience today, because you're going to be meeting one of the most interesting people who has intersected with some of the biggest names in the world of entertainment over the past half century. It's just going to be rollicking good fun. So buckle up and get ready. So before we bring on amazing Bruce, I just want to again emphasize and say thank you to you for telling your family and friends, hey, come listen to the Joy of Living. So that every week we have at least 25,000 more people. Right now we're up to 522,000 people around the world listening at this very moment. By the time we bring on Bruce, we'll have over 530,000. And we're adding 25,000 every show. So we'll be at over 1 million in the next few months. Really important thing, though, is to share this with 5 people. That's it. Now, you want to share it with 50 or 100? That's great. But at least 5, so we can touch 2.5 million people around the world with joy, happiness, peace, and love. So let's discuss the 3 fundamentals, because that's why you're here. Number 1 is to understand that your life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, number 2 happens. There's a good number 2. You go MAD. Now, MAD is a wonderful acronym. It stands for make a difference. Lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference in the world. And the 3rd fundamental is to uncover the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Simple example, this show is carried over the internet. If you ask anybody, what does www stand for? Invariably, it has to do with the internet. Factually speaking, they're correct. However, in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, www stands for what a wonderful world. And what is the word, right? WHATA. And that song, What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong, Satchmo, thank you, has gone viral and not just touched tens of millions or hundreds of millions, billions of people on the planet listen to What a Wonderful World. Whenever you hear the opening bars of that song, what do? You can't help it. You smile. Now, smile is one of the most important words you're going to utilize, internalize, and leverage in your life, because smile stands for seeing miracles in your life every day. That's right, seeing miracles in life every day. Let me tell you a quick story. It's about me. Imagine, if you can, I'm standing up in the morning, completely healthy and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. In the evening, I'm in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed from my neck down. I could only communicate by blinking my eyes. And it wasn't from an automobile accident. It wasn't a spinal injury. The rare disease took over my body and caused me to be a quadriplegic. 144 days in the hospital. 2 years in a hospital bed in my own home. I couldn't move. I was 4 years in a wheelchair, braces on both my legs, to my hips, to my ankles. That was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wall. So I'm a triped, not a biped. Can't walk up a stair by myself, can't walk up a curb by myself. I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. However, you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant all becomes one word. One word. The word is smile. Seeing miracles in life every day. So some people will raise their hands right away and say, hey, Barry Shore, I've been up for hours. I haven't seen any miracles. And I'll ask you, are you here? Can you hear? Can you stand still? I can't do that. Can you walk? I can barely do that. You have water to drink, you have food to eat, place to sleep, you have family, you have friends. Every single one of those is a miracle. And what's the proof? Simple proof. 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, if you're listening or watching, you didn't. Therefore, you have an obligation to live life to the full. Let me tell you, though, it was very funny. I was tickled. My 8-year-old niece comes over to me a few weeks ago. And she says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile S-M-I-E-L? So I thought about it. Smile sounds the same. Why not? Ask her how come. She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of an 8-year-old. What was she doing, though? She was creating the kind of world she wants to live in. Now, CREATE is a fabulous acronym. It stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. You're going to do a lot of rethinking today. It's a lot of fun. You're going to learn about public relations and famous people, just all kinds of great stuff. So what happens when you learn how to shift your perspective? Now, I got to tell you something. I've been working with people for more than half a century. When they come to me for coaching and look on paper, they're just great. And then they tell me they're being there and it falls apart. What happened? They drop the F in shift and the other stuff happens. You got to keep your F and F's in place. So you got to shift your perspective just a little bit. And then you can internalize, utilize, and leverage the 6 most important words you'll ever learn. And these are choice, not chance, determines your destiny. How you choose to respond in any given situation will determine your path in life and your trajectory. Now, before we bring on wonderful Bruce, I have to warn everybody, I do use a lot of 4-letter words. I even use the 4-letter FU word, and I do it for the shock value, and it's fun. Now, of course, the 4-letter words that we use, because we live in the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, are love, life, hope, play, free, gift, swim. And the 4-letter FU word is fun. Fun, that's right. F-U, capital N, capital N. Some people say, hey, Barry Shore. Fun's only spelled with 3 letters. Not in our world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Fun is spelled F-U, capital N, capital N. So after the show, when you see your family and friends, point your finger, twinkle in your eye, smile on your face, say, F-U, everybody. Remember to add right away, capital N, capital N. You got their attention. And now you can share with them all the wondrous things that you're going to be hearing from Bruce today. So before we bring on wonderful Bruce, I just want to urge everybody to use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day for now and the rest of your life, because you'll be happier, healthier, or wealthier. These 2 words are thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks stands for to harmonize and nurture kindness. Kind stands for keep inspiring noble deeds. I can't think of anyone that inspires noble deeds I want to introduce you to more than wonderful Bruce Merrin. Bruce.
I'm so happy to be here.
Say hello to 530,711 people around the world.
Very exciting. And every word that you mentioned, I loved. And when you mentioned the thank you, I just a quick story because this is great. Coach John Wooden, he won 10 NCAA championships, UCLA, my client. He did the talk, Pyramid of Success. He always sent me a personal thank you letter on his stationery after every speaking engagement. He understood what thank you meant. So, Barry, you're amazing. Your energy, your passion, and you motivate and you inspire me. So I just have to let you know that.
Thank you, Bruce. Now, I want to share with everybody. You just heard a number of things from Bruce already before I even tell you more about him. I'm going to urge everybody, as I do on the show, don't take notes. Don't write stuff down. Lean in and experience what you're going to feel from Bruce. The reason we have this show and we record it is so you can go back and listen again. The winners will listen a second time, pause, write down, remember things. And the true winners in life will go back the 3rd time and listen again, because that's when you really begin to learn things. Repetition creates transformation. So if I started telling everybody all of the stuff that Bruce Merrin has accomplished, it would take the rest of the show and another show. So I'm going to give you 3 data points. Number 1, he's a UCLA, since you mentioned UCLA, film grad school graduate. And he handled his first job was handling for MGM Studios, the Elvis tour. We'll talk about that. The other thing is that he is now celebrating 53 years as a public relations expert. And in anything to celebrate 53 years is wondrous. To be what he is and what he's done. And the other piece is that Bruce is a champion in sports and in life. He has been with his wonderful partner now for more than a quarter century, and a champion, literally champion racquetball player and tennis player. The man excels in everything. So now just sit back or lean in actually, and let's have some stories about people, because everybody loves it. I mean, both of us, by the way, live in a place that is known to the world as Las Vegas. You just mentioned those two words and people lean in, open their ears and eyes, and they tell me more. So Bruce, tell us more. What was your first big PR client?
I would love to, but I got to say, Viva Las Vegas!
Wait a
right?
minute. Who made that famous?
Oh my goodness, Elvis Presley. And yeah, let's talk about Elvis, because you were so kind in the introduction. And by the way, Barry, I owe everything in my life to my mom. So the Elvis story is this. I was graduating the UCLA Film School. My mom took me aside. She said, Bruce, with your talent, why don't you try to get a job at MGM Studios, most famous studio in the world? I said, Mom, I'm going to do it. 1 week later, I had a job at MGM in the Thalberg building, the most famous building in the entire studio, Barry. The president of MGM comes into me. He says, young man, how would you like to have lunch in the commissary with Elvis Presley? We have a brand new film. It's called Elvis on Tour. Bruce, I want you to handle the PR, the publicity. So Barry, I said to him, I said, Elvis is my most loving star. So I sat down to Elvis in the MGM commissary, looking him right in the eye like I'm looking you in the eye. I said, Elvis, we are really going to get along. We are both mama's boys. And Elvis just loved that. So my very first job in my career was doing publicity, working directly with Elvis Presley and the MGM studio, sending out stories all over the world and setting up interviews for Elvis. So, what a way to start my career.
Okay, let's unpack a few things here, because we have a worldwide audience. When I mean worldwide, Bruce, we get letters and emails and texts from people in Baluchistan, Nepal, India, Pakistan, Congo, throughout Latin America, obviously United States. There are a few names that still resonate decades after they've left this earth. And one of them is Elvis. Now, Elvis has two interesting things about him. Number one, mom. He loved mom.
That's right.
Mom is a great acronym. You want to hear the acronym for mom? Maker of miracles.
I love it.
Because that's who mom is.
I use that now. I love that. And that's my mom. That's
right.
my
and
mom.
That was Elvis. Elvis also.
Right.
The people who understand English, you'll see it right away. Elvis, the same letter is spelled lives.
I love it.
Elvis lives. Because, all right, let me share one story with you. We're having a lot of fun, right? I'm in South Africa. I was going around the world business tour and such many decades ago. I'm on a flight from Johannesburg to Cape Town. And I'm sitting next to a lovely woman, and we start talking. I'm American, she's South African. She said, well, I'm going to be in America next week. Oh, really? Why? She says, I'm making a pilgrimage. You hear these words? I'm making a pilgrimage to Graceland.
Ah, I love it.
Anybody who knows Elvis, Graceland was Elvis's home, the mansion, the place. And he's been dead. But at that time, he was passed away for many, many years. But she's making her pilgrimage to Graceland. That's how impactful Elvis Presley was upon the world. Is that fair to say, Bruce?
Oh, yes. And by the way, for all your viewers, I had the pleasure, imagine, I visited Graceland many times when Elvis was there. And for everybody that's watching us, make a trip to Memphis and spend your time at Graceland. What an experience. The memories. Barry, I just got chills just saying that. So I love your story, and I don't think there's anybody worldwide that's had that kind of influence and entertainment like Elvis. He's just magical.
And I am saying to you, Bruce, again, flesh and blood, and not far away from where we geographically we are. Even though, again, we're talking about worldwide audience. You and I are just a few miles away here, and we're going to be meeting, God willing, next week for lunch. The fact that you knew personally Elvis Presley makes me tingle. I'm being very blunt. I am in awe of that because, again, let's talk openly. There's a group called the Beatles, one of the most influential musical talents in the history of the world.
Yes, and Barry, another thing I'd love to share with you, and I think you'll get a kick. One time we were having lunch, again, at MGM during the film PR, and he said, Bruce, I know you love all of my rock and roll, Don't Be Cruel, and name it from A to Z. But he says, what I'm most proud is my gospel albums. He says, those were my roots when I was growing up. And he says, I love that people love my gospel albums. And he says, I treasure and cherish the fact that those gospel albums are touching the hearts of everybody. My rock and roll is great. They call me the king. I appreciate that. But my gospel, that's my heart. And so coming directly from Elvis, I can understand because his upbringing was that spirituality.
Again, I'm tingling. Just recently, there was a great online post about Elvis singing in a famous church, black church, and invited by the pastor, and all the participants in the church. Again, it was actually relatively small, maybe about 300 people. When he introduced Elvis, and Whisper is going to say, "This white guy's going to sing gospel." And then as he started singing, tears are rolling down, people standing up and dancing and singing in the aisles because he was gospel.
He was. And like I said, I wound up right here in Vegas where we live at the International Hotel. I probably saw 500 of his shows at the International. And he always closed his show with that wonderful, it was called the Trilogy. And again, I'm getting chills thinking about it. He always closed every show with the Trilogy, and it's the combination of 3 different songs together. But the spirituality in his singing, it really stands out. And it's just very special that for him, the gospel LPs, and I'm telling you, you can buy any of his LPs, the gospel ones, and you will have tears. It's just very, very touching. Yes.
That's why his name, Elvis, spells also lives. See, when your spirituality transcends time and space, music transcends time and space. When music is fused in a human who really loves the process and speaks about it in song to the Creator, which is what gospel is.
Yes.
And he and here he is, the king of rock and roll. And people going crazy over that because it comes from a place of reality that's rooted in spirituality. Is that fair to say?
Oh, no, yeah. And in his heart. And again, I moved to Vegas in 56. I've seen every big name headliner that you can mention, A to Z, Celine, Judy Garland, Lena Horne, I mean, you name them. But there was nobody in a showroom like Elvis. His voice, when you're in that showroom, you can't help but just get chills because it's such a powerful voice, whether he's singing rock and roll or gospel, you name it. He was a magnet, and he ignited the audience. So, yeah, I loved him. I absolutely loved him.
I am. Okay. Again, hundreds of thousands of people. I urge you to share this with 5 people. Because no matter what language you speak or where you come from, this will resonate. Share with 5. We can just touch 2.5 million people. Now, I will say also, we have sponsors that love the show, and we wouldn't have them on if we didn't think they're worthy of your time and attention. We vet them all. We'll be right back with more Bruce, and we're going to talk about sports next, not just entertainment, music, sports. Be right back with a brief message.
Hello, skincare connoisseurs. If you think you have tried everything in skincare, you are going to love what I am about to tell you. I'm pharmacist Benjamin I. Fuchs. I'm a dermatology pharmacist, and what I've discovered in my compounding pharmacy after decades of working with patients with skin traumas and skin diseases is the missing link in skincare is topical essential nutrition. And because of this missing link, we're not maximizing the potential of topical skincare. We're leaving skin beauty and skin health on the table. And that's why I formulated my Truth Treatments. Listen, the skin's an organ. It needs and wants and craves nutrients, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, fatty acids, and plant-derived minerals, and now it can get them in super high concentrations in my Truth Treatments. Originally formulated for dermatologists and their patients, now they're available to you. Check them out today at truthtreatments.com, and I know you are going to love the truth.
Good day. Beautiful bands of beloved immortal beings and good-looking people. You're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. You found good in abundance, and our cup runneth over with good. His name is Bruce Merrin. His profession is PR, public relations, and he was just regaling us with his meeting and his promotion with one of the greatest stars of all time, Elvis Presley. Now we're going to move into sports because, let's be blunt, sports also attracts people from around the world. It touches everybody. And I am privileged to say right now 2 names, and again, you can say others if you want, that you've actually worked with. You met, I don't mean cardboard, that they were there, the flesh and blood. You talked to them, you pressed the flesh, you helped them. And 2 of these are total legends, Jackie Robinson, Muhammad Ali. Now, I want everybody to understand, please, our audience, Bruce, is 35 and under, 85% of them. So I'm telling you that even these names sometimes don't resonate with people. So don't do it right now, but after the show, when you can listen again, you're going to Google Jackie Robinson. You're going to Google or search, whatever you do, ChatGPT these days, Muhammad Ali. And Bruce worked with them. So let's just begin with those 2. How did that even happen, Bruce?
Yes, I really appreciate it. And again, I had mentioned earlier, I owe everything to my mom. My mom, who is a giant in PR, she was just a legend. She introduced me both to Jackie Robinson, Muhammad Ali. This goes back 53 years. 53 years ago, I met both of them. When I met Jackie Robinson, of course, one of the most famous baseball players of all time. What made it special when I met Jackie, we lived in Queens, New York until I graduated the 6th grade, Barry. So I went to dozens of Brooklyn Dodgers games. And who was my favorite player? It was Jackie Robinson, number 42, who, by the way, they made that amazing movie about his life. So the first time I met Jackie, which was in Hollywood, I said, Jackie, you've been my hero for all these years. Now I'm meeting you in person. God bless you. The fact that we can work together. And 1 month after I met Jackie, I had a booking for him for Bank of America in Los Angeles. I was in the front row. He got a standing ovation. But what Jackie went through in his entire life, it unheralded. So he was always a hero. Then going to Muhammad Ali, I was born, as they say, Louisville. I was born in Louisville, Kentucky. So the first time I met Ali, I said, Ali, you're going to love this. I was born in Louisville like you. So Ali just loved that. And again, with Ali, maybe a month later, I had another really big booking for him, the same clients that I booked at Bank of America. And with Ali, as you know, Barry, you have the most amazing sense of humor and you're so charismatic. Well, charisma, that's Muhammad Ali. He had charisma and he was electric, But on the other side, what I really admire, Barry, and I'm going to share this, I was in Vietnam in 1968. In March of 68, my best friend was mortally wounded. He died in my arms. The saddest day of my life. Ali and I had a really good talk about this. 3.5 years out of Ali's life, he gave up boxing because he didn't believe in war. And so 3.5 years of boxing, he didn't fight.
Let me put you on pause for a moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Bruce is unpacking things for us. I'm crying as I'm saying this. So, Bruce was in Vietnam. The Vietnam War was raging. 1968. As Bruce mentioned, his best friend died in his arms. There are no words to describe, to talk about. By the same token, this greatest boxer of all time said, I will not fight. I'm a conscientious objector. It's not that I can't fight. I'm a great fighter. This is my profession. I will not do that. And he gave up his career, which let's translate into money. That's millions, if not tens of millions of dollars, and time, and pressure from a lot of people to say, what are you doing? Elvis went in the army. You can go in the army.
And Barry, you are so what? Everything you're saying punctuated. I agree 100%. So me as a Vietnam veteran, when I had this talk with Ali, I said, Ali, I admire you. I respect you. I love you. What you're doing does touch my heart because you believe this so strongly. You're willing, just like you said, to give up probably hundreds of millions of dollars and not fight. It was 3 years that he didn't fight because he was a conscientious objector. So
I want to ask you a physical thing. So Bruce, I don't know how tall you are because you're sitting down. I'll presume you're about 5'11". So
yes, exactly.
Muhammad Ali, I think, was 6'2". And not only that, he had a reach, a very long reach, because he had when you're a champion boxer, you're fighting, again, Sonny Liston. I mean, just talk about enormous beings that had huge reach. Muhammad Ali was famous for his ability to reach out. I mean, his wingspan, I don't even know how big it was. What was it like being in his presence?
Oh, one of the most amazing experiences. Again, I've worked with the biggest legends, Robin Williams, you name it. But he's right up there at the top because of his amazing, charisma. Like I said, just like you have that electric charisma. You really can't teach that. Either you have it in your heart or you don't. And he had the charisma, and so he would absolutely be in my top 10 of all the celebrities and sports stars that I've ever met. And like I said, I admire and respect his talent. Who can forget the Thriller in Manila? Right?
Okay, for the audience, because most of you, you may have heard the name. Yes, start doing your research, not now, after the show and such, or when you listen again, because you're going to find an amazing being. I'm thinking in my mind, there are a number of different clips, one with Howard Cosell. He and Howard, which is another great name. You probably met Howard Cosell, or at least certainly you know of him. And he and Muhammad Ali were actually very close friends who sparred together with words. And that was one of the geniuses of Ali, is that he flowed. He was a poet. He really was capable of, like you said, creating an atmosphere that people were attracted to him to fight and to sting like the bee. And I've also remember he was on a show with Dick Cavett one time. And to be able to have serious conversation, because sometimes you could look at him and think, well, that's very cool and interesting and clownish. No, he was a very serious being.
Oh, yeah.
Very capable.
Very intelligent. Yes.
Well, he had to be. And again, Jackie Robinson, but just to put a little spin on things, wasn't just a baseball player. I think he was a star in 3 sports. He went to UCLA, I think.
You're absolutely right. And again, for those that maybe weren't familiar, the very first black African-American baseball player in the history of baseball. Jackie was the first black baseball player. And because of that, the torment and the anger that was directed at him, he had to have such intense personal fortitude to deal with all the hostility, because he dealt with such sad hostility because he was the only one.
Which, by the way, for people to understand, does not exist today in the United States of America. It did exist in 1947.
Right.
It was a reality. There was intense dislike, if not hatred, but it was prejudice hatred. It wasn't based on anything other than not knowing. Okay. And Jackie Robinson overcame it and became the point of the spear that enabled baseball to be desegregated, to allow anybody to play the game. It didn't matter.
By the way, Barry, I just want to share the movie several years ago, 42, Warner Brothers movie. Really a good film. I really enjoyed that film. So please go on. But yeah, he was just amazing, Jackie Robinson.
Let's give credit. Jackie Robinson, because he says it himself, would not have been able to withstand it alone. He was married to a wonderful, strong woman who enabled him to withstand the tsunami of hatred and let it break upon him and stand tall and show the world. And he changed the power of one person, Jackie Robinson, the power of one person, Muhammad Ali, the power of one person, Elvis Presley. Let's talk about some entertainment people that you've worked with, Bruce, because, okay, everybody's getting the sense here that Bruce is not your regular run-of-the-mill PR person.
Well, you are so kind. And by the way, I could mention so many, but certainly in my top 10 would be Robin Williams. And again, going back to Vietnam, one of the films that he did was Good Morning Vietnam.
Good Morning Vietnam.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Let's talk about Robin Williams because it's a remarkable story. Robin Williams, as he's billed, comedian. Okay. Really a large life figure who had a comic talent that truly was charismatic and remarkable on stage. I've seen some of the clips when he was early days on stage. Very, very funny.
Yeah, and by the way, he's a genius. I will say, I don't use the word genius much at all. He was a genius because where I first met him, and Johnny Carson was one of my very first clients. So I was at the Carson show all of the time. And the first time Robin Williams was on that show, I was knocked out. I said, I've never seen anybody so quick and brilliant and genius. So I made it a point after that first appearance. I went in the green room, at the Johnny Carson show. Mr. Williams, this is my card. I admire you. And this is a story that I think you would really love. Everybody loved Mrs. Doubtfire, right? I mean, it was just a wonderful film. I get a call from a corporate meeting planner. They said, we're having our annual event. We know that you work with Robin. Do you think he might consider coming up as a surprise? The audience is introduced. We have a mystery guest, and Mrs. Doubtfire walks out on the stage. Do you think Robin would do that? I said, look, I doubt he's going to say yes, but let me ask him. Well, Barry, believe it or not, he said, yes, Bruce, I'll do it. So I was there in the very front row. There were 5,000 people in the audience, and the announcer says, we have a very special surprise for you. The curtain opens up. As soon as they see Robin dressed as Mrs. Doubtfire, they knew it was Robin Williams. So, he played with the audience, and then he did about an hour of stand-up. But I'll tell you, the other thing with Robin, such a brilliant actor, some of the films that he did, just amazing, just absolutely amazing. So he's one of my favorites, absolutely for sure.
So let's talk about difficulty. Everybody that we've talked about so far, Elvis, Muhammad Ali, Jackie Robinson, stars of the largest, greatest magnitude, and they all had huge challenges, Elvis died in a very terrible way. Jackie Robinson died early. Muhammad Ali died early.
Yes.
Robert Williams left this planet by his own hand. Again, like you said, genius. One would think, oh, genius. Everybody loves him. Standing ovation wherever he goes. Tortured inside. And yet you never saw it.
No, he certainly withheld it. Robin Williams did withhold it, but yet we all know the demons. We all know, but he never discussed any of the demons with me. Whenever I saw Robin, he was, upbeat and, happy. But of course, he had demons. And by the way, because you were mentioning some of these people that left too soon, the saddest celebrity experience I had was with Michael Landon. Michael was one of my first clients, very first year. So 53 years ago, Michael was my client. And when I met him, he was already a big star on Bonanza. So when I met him for the first time, we were having lunch and he says, Bruce, I've got a really new show that I want to tell you about. It's called Little House on the Prairie. That's the first time that I met him. All right. But fast forward, he had pancreatic cancer. And at 56 years old, he went to heaven way too early. But that was the saddest thing, Barry, that I ever had. I had moved here to Vegas. He was dealing with, he thought was a stomach ulcer, Barry. He calls me here in Vegas. He says, Bruce, I've got some sad news. It was not a stomach ulcer. He says, I have pancreatic cancer. Bruce, two things. Call Carson. I want to make an appearance on Carson as soon as possible. And I want you to set up a news conference in Malibu. I want to make this announcement. I don't want the tabloids, releasing the story. Michael has pancreatic cancer. And Barry, 3 months from the day he called me here in Vegas, 3 months from that day, sadly, he went to heaven. So that's where I said that was the saddest experience I have ever had working with a client. And Michael, as you know, way too young at 56 years old, Barry.
And the audience may resonate with Elvis' name, Muhammad Ali, some Jackie Robinson. I don't think most would know. So again, and not now, later, you'll do your search for Michael Landon, Landon, and you'll see one of the most talented, certainly one of the handsomest, one of the most pleasant people that has ever been involved in the Hollywood scene. And as you said, Bonanza, you mentioned the name of a television show. America was a very different place when Bonanza was running. I think it ran for 10 years, or maybe plus minus. They said that when Bonanza came on the television set, that a third of American households stopped whatever they were doing. They were watching.
You're absolutely right. And on trivia, it was the first color TV show on NBC. But yeah, and then his last show, which everybody loved as well, was Highway to Heaven, about angels.
Right. So he did Little House on the Prairie, and he was a wonderful part. He was a great guy. By the way, as were all of the individuals on the show Bonanza, which is bizarre today because you have a father who lost his wife after giving birth to 4 sons. So it's an all male show. And I mean, it couldn't be made today. It would be made a very different way. And Michael Landon was, Little Joe. And it was just,
and Hoss. Yeah.
It was a really big slice of Americana.
Yes.
About the West and such like that. Let's talk about Johnny Carson, if you would, please, because when I did watch television, which I have not done probably in half a century, Johnny Carson was what we call late night. Now, late night was about 11 o'clock, 11:15, plus minus. And people would stay up. I mean, it was also a situation that the country would watch this one particular show, Johnny Carson. Most of it was just good fun, almost all the time. Johnny Carson was one of the biggest stars in America for being the host of a television show. I mean, you think about it today, okay, there are names out there, they don't even come up to the hem of a Johnny Carson. And politics was beside the point. It was about introducing people and stars and names, and stuff like that. So you got to work with him. He was famous for three things, I think. Number one, Midwestern guy made good.
Yeah.
Number two, Midwestern guy who we thought would have Midwestern values and would be happily married, and was many times.
Five, yes.
Maybe not so happily married, but he was what they called a serial, not entrepreneur, monogamist.
Yes.
Serial monogamist.
Right.
And,
yes, exactly.
It costs a lot of money and such, but that's another story. Tell us about what it's like to work with a man who, by definition, had one of the biggest egos possible, and yet was still pleasant.
Yes. Well, here's what I can tell you. And when I went well, it reminds me of Ronald Reagan, the first president that I ever booked. I went well. But anyway, Johnny was humble. He did not have a big ego. He always treated me like a king. And again, how many times have I said I owe everything to Mom? Mom, on her own, there's a reason I'm telling you this. She handled the publicity for Simon and Schuster.
Well, wait a minute. I want you to put on pause a moment. On a cliffhanger, Johnny Carson, Simon and Schuster. We're going to go on a commercial break. Remember, we love these people. We wouldn't have them on. We'll be right back with Bruce Merrin. Don't go away. Opportunity. What an opportunity. I'm going to use 2 4-letter words right now. Free gift. Free gift. Yes, you can have a copy of my best-selling book, The Joy of Living, How to Slay Stress and Be Happy, the ebook version for absolutely free. All you have to do is send an email to me, Barry, Barry, at barryshore.com, and in the heading, the subject line, just write free gift. It's as easy as that. This is a life-changing, life-enhancing opportunity. Barry at barryshore.com. You'll be glad you did. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Free gift. Do it now. Take the action. Make it happen right now. Best wishes. Bye. Good day. Beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking. Joe is looking for and finding to go. He found good in abundance. Bruce Merrin. He is not just PR, Mr. PR, public relations. He has met and worked with some of the most famous people on the planet. And he's sharing with us insight. Now, we're talking right now about one of the most famous television personalities in the history of American television, who was not a television personality other than that he was a host. He was the host of the Johnny Carson show. I believe the longest running, what they call it, late night show that there was before he personally retired. So you're about to tell us it has to do with Mom. How did Mom, your mom, maker of miracles, get involved with you, Johnny Carson, and Simon and Schuster?
Yeah, it's a great story. Mom was queen of PR at General Service Movie Studio. She was the queen of PR. She got on her own the PR for Simon and Schuster, the biggest book publisher in the world. So every single month, Mom and I handled publicity for the biggest author with Simon and Schuster. We were raving about Johnny Carson. If you remember when he was doing the 90-minute show, usually the last guest would be an author. So that's how I started getting to know Johnny, because I would go to the Carson show with the Simon & Schuster author. So we became really good friends. Now, to fast forward to the most important almost thing that ever happened in my life, and we were talking about Michael Landon. Michael Landon was on Johnny's show. Johnny comes backstage after Michael was on. He says, guys, I'd like to invite you guys to my home on the beach in Malibu. Will you go? I said, Michael Landon, let's go. So that night, Michael Landon and I are at this beautiful home right on the beach in Malibu at Johnny's home. Johnny gets out a bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon. He pours and by the way, it's my favorite wine. He didn't know it, but I told him. So he's toasting us, Michael Landon and Bruce. He says, Bruce, I've got an idea. I think you should start a celebrity speakers bureau. So I said to him, I said, well, but Johnny, I do PR, but, and I'm stuttering around. He says, I'm going to make it easy, Bruce. I'm going to be your very first client. Michael says, I'll be your second client. Ed McMahon calls me the next day. Hey, I hear you're starting a celebrity bureau. I'll be your third client. So 53 years later, the big part of my business is my celebrity speakers bureau. It's thanks to Johnny. It was his idea. I was doing PR only at that time. So he was also a visionary,
Okay, so let's do two things here with your permission, even without. Ready? Thank you, Johnny Carson. I'll tell you why I say thank you. First of all, it's a great story. Second of all, I want to emphasize to people around the world what true goodness is. Here you have the most famous person in the world, at that time in America, certainly, Johnny Carson. And Johnny Carson was not thinking about himself. He was thinking about, hey, Bruce, something you can do. Here's something cool you can do because you're so talented. He was thinking about the other person. Okay, he's going to get a benefit. You say, what can I do? That's called willingly giving. You don't seem to find that in what they call the Hollywood atmosphere. It's more about taking than giving. So you just broke through the impression and said, Johnny Carson, that's great. And look at that.
Yeah, thanks to him. So thanks to him, for 53 years, I've been booking celebrities and sports stars and past presidents, you name it, entertainers. But it was all thanks to Johnny. Otherwise, I like PR and I was doing PR anyway. But he opened up a whole new world for me, and for me to start out right away. Oh, by the way, my clients are Michael Landon and Ed McMahon and Johnny Carson. I mean, what a way to start out.
Let's do this. Ready? Here's Johnny.
That's right.
Okay. Bruce, I love the story about Ed McMahon. Is there something that you can say about Ed McMahon that would be an interesting anecdote?
Well, yeah, immediately flashes to me because we are here in Vegas. Ed really had a heart of gold. And, he was a foil, so to speak, on the Carson show, to allow, Johnny to be funny, but very bright guy. So anyway, one of the pet projects for Ed McMahon was St. Jude's. And we worked directly with Danny Thomas on St. Jude's.
Wait a minute. You met Danny Thomas?
Yes. And oh my God, growing up as a kid, the Danny Thomas show, Rusty Hamer. I remember Rusty was right?
You have to be a certain age to appreciate what Bruce is saying. However, when you start doing your chat GBTs and you bring these people up, you say, wow, these amazing people. Danny Thomas is an angel.
He was. And for him, again, a big celebrity, a huge celebrity. He wanted to help these kids, and so he started St. Jude's. There are so many. There are probably hundreds of thousands of nonprofits. It's got to be one of the best in the world. So anyway, working directly with Danny Thomas and Ed, there was a St. Jude's here in Las Vegas. So Ed would fly in and do the TV commercials with Father Ward was his name here in Las Vegas. And by the way, Ed loved Morton's Steakhouse. So every time when Ed would come into Vegas, we'd always go to Morton's Steakhouse for dinner. But anyway, he had a heart of gold. And obviously he wasn't paid on these commercials, but he believed so much in St. Jude's and what Danny Thomas was doing that he would come in and, he was just wonderful. And also I'll say Ed had a wonderful home in Beverly Hills, and I got to visit him and his wife Pamela many times at his home, and they loved shows. Again, talking Vegas, we did the PR Barry for the Splash show at the Riviera. It ran 22 years. Ed and Pamela, I think they went to the show 5 times with me. They loved it so much. But Ed was wonderful. I just absolutely love him.
I am, as we say in our world, I'm quelling right now for the the genius of what you're bringing to us. I want to emphasize a couple of things. By the way, Bruce, with your permission, during one of the commercial breaks, I created an acronym for your name. May I share it with you?
Yes, I'm ready.
Bruce, BRUCE, stands for Bringing Rewards, Unleashing Creativity Every Day.
I love that. That fits me to a T, and I love it. I love it because the word that I use for probably 30, 40 years, impact lives. For me, my goal in my heart, if I can impact people's lives every day, that's what I live for. Not my ego. If I can impact lives, and it all goes back to Dr. Wayne Dyer, who I probably booked Dr. Wayne Dyer maybe 50 times. You know,
No, wait a minute. I gotta put you stop for a moment.
Yes.
Okay, just have to stop. Everybody should know. Barry Shore, the ambassador of joy. Wayne Dyer. And again, if you don't know, you'll start looking up. One of the most delightful human beings that ever walked our planet. Okay, that's my little piece. Please.
No, and you're right. And I was blessed because when I met Dr. Wayne Dyer, he was young into his career. Nobody hardly even knew him. He was just coming out with his first book. But where I got the impact lives was I wound up booking Dr. Wayne Dyer dozens of times. And after one talk, I remember it was in Palm Beach, Florida. He got a standing ovation. He sold hundreds of books. I said, Dr. Dyer, you really are impacting my life. This is years ago. He says, Bruce, you ought to use that as a tagline, because not only do I impact lives, you impact lives too. Because when you book people like me in front of big audiences, you're impacting the lives of those audiences. So for years and years on social media, I've used the impact lives because, again, that's what's in my heart. If I can impact lives, which I do, that's something that really makes me happy. You mentioned earlier about purpose. If you ask Bruce, what's your purpose? I would say my purpose is to impact lives through what we do.
I want to say thank you, Mom.
Yes, no, you're absolutely right. I owe everything to her. Yes.
Maker of miracles.
No, you're right. And by the way, our age, I'll share just one mom story. Joan Crawford, the legendary actress.
Oh, Joan Crawford. Okay.
Academy Award winner, right? Oscar winner. All right. Of course, she was Mom's PR client. So I walked into the office one day. Joan Crawford is seated by my mom's desk. I walked in. I didn't know at that time that Joan was a client. I immediately knew as soon as I walked in. Joan Crawford, the Oscar winner, she stands up, gives me a big hug. She says, Bruce, your mom is the best PR representative I've ever had. That was way back in my career. And here's an Oscar winner raving about my mom. So I had to mention Joan.
We love you. Oh, well, I'm loath to say the words I'm going to say right now. We're coming to a close on our time together.
Yes.
I have 3 quick questions for you, Bruce Merrin. Are you ready?
Yes.
Number 1, will you come back again?
Are you kidding? I love it. Okay. Of course.
Number 2, Bruce Merrin. I think we know the answer. However, I want you to think about it and give us another same answer or more. You have 80 seconds to say this. Ready?
Yes.
What is your most fervent desire?
I would go back to impact lives. My biggest desire in my life is to impact lives every day. And it doesn't cost 1 penny to impact lives. It's not, remember the JFK quote about country? I want to impact the lives of people. And if I can impact those lives, then my heart is fulfilled. That's what I want to do. Every single day, impact the lives. So that's what, for me, it's all about.
And he's doing it. Remember, lives are the same letters that spell Elvis.
I love it. I love it. We
Okay,
had to get back to the king. Yeah.
Number 3 question. May I give you a hug in front of 531,917 people around the world?
I love it. Un abrazo. Yes.
Okay.
A hug. Yes.
What hug stands for? Hug stands for heartfelt, unlimited giving. 1, 2, 3.
Love it. Love it.
You tuned into consciously and conscientiously to The Joy of Living with your humble host, Barry Shaw, the ambassador of joy, our amazing guest, Bruce Merrin. And remember the two most important things. You want to say thank you 3 times a day for the rest of your life. Thank you. Thanks stands for to harmonize, nurture, kindness. And remember, the reason you tuned in is because you care the most in the entire world about you. Y-O-U. So this show is not about Bruce, the guy that he is, not about Barry, fabulous fellow, about you. You becoming the best you, so you can impact lives in a positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant way. Use the 3 fundamentals. Number 1, life. Your life has purpose. You lead a purpose-driven life, you go mad. Mad stands for make a difference. And the 3rd, unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms like smile, seeing miracles in life every day. Or as my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world you want to live in, causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. You want to shift your perspective just a little more. Keep that F in place so the other stuff happens. Shift your perspective, internalize, utilize, and leverage the 6 most important words. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny and your path in life. And use 4-letter words like we do. Love, life, hope, play, free, give, swim, and tell the world to F you. Remember to add right away, capital N, capital N. You get people's attention. Say, what is that all about? Say, wait till you hear the stories I heard and have a lot of fun. So a blessing from Bruce and Barry. Go forth. Live exuberantly. Spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference. Bruce, don't go away.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.